All right. Hello. Hopefully our audio is coming through loud and clear. Welcome to the Hive. Doing this late night Halloween stream. I guess it's late night for me. It's almost midday for my friend down
Yes.
under, who is the Australian equivalent of Jason Voorhees, Mr. Mark Reed. He does live at the
Apparently
bottom
so,
of the lake.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
The,
And you know, I've tried to make it as dark as possible, and there's only so much I can do, like the lights coming in and everything. But it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Bree. It's wonderful to see you.
Hey, yeah, it's so good to have a co-host with me when I do these longer video streams where I take something that's 20 minutes or so long and kind of dive into it. I did add somebody just for anybody who was watching last night. We did the poll, and I had the individuals, but this I decided I needed to add one more on there, so I did find a surprise video that I'm going to do at the end of all this. It's somebody that you all recognize, but I found something from last year that they did, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Nice.
we gotta dive into that. So anyway, let me say hi to the few people who've popped in already for us. We got Look at the Trees. We got Monkey for Banana. We got Godseed. Everybody is all here and ready to watch us counter apologetic. But
Nice.
Let's talk about Halloween for a minute, though. Let's also talk about. We'll get into talking about our video that we're doing as well in a moment. But let's talk about Halloween. What's Halloween like in Australia for you?
It's probably not as prevalent in Australia as America. Like if you go out on Halloween, you won't see kids generally roaming around where I live. Sometimes the suburbs, they kind of do it. Some families do it, mostly not. The real thing you'll see on Halloween is sort of tweens or late teens going out to parties dressed up as really slutty things and just
makers, right?
It's really weird because I bought this mask in a $2 store. It's the cheapest thing ever. Basically when I was doing boot camp kind of thing at the gym, they said, "Oh, come dressed up for Halloween," and that's what you'll find in Australia. It'll be like work functions and
organized
clubs
get-togethers
and stuff.
and things.
Right. Stuff like that. People will go, "Hey, let's dress up for Halloween." Sort of a more team building exercise than a sort of let's party down. But there's a lot of Halloween parties, but the whole idea of trick or treat just doesn't enter into it. You won't see carved pumpkins or anything like that. It's very rare to see that kind of stuff.
That's dying over here too. That's been replaced by what they call trunk or treats. And that would, ironically, it's a lot of those are church sponsored too. So a lot of them are like church.
Okay, I don't know what that is. Can you explain that for me?
Yeah.
Trunk or treat.
So instead of going and walking around your neighborhood, which some people deem as unsafe for children, they'll have instead all the people from different church or different organizations. Not always the church that's hosting it, but they'll often give their parking lots to it. The malls do them too, or sometimes they'll do like our town centers or things like that, public parks. Everybody come decorate the inside of your trunk with Halloween decorations.
Right.
And you set it like maybe a chair at the back of your vehicle and have your bowl of candy there. And a lot of businesses contribute to it because they can put like flyers and stuff in the bag,
sure.
and do promotionals and stuff like that.
So it's just sort of a safer environment. Yeah.
And it's more like a costume parade than it is trick or treating. You say trick or treat when you get to the back of the vehicle, but it's people come to see the costumes. There's usually a costume contest involved with it.
Right.
Usually there's different categories and things like that. Sometimes here in the areas that I live in, when they have them, they're not always on Halloween night. Some of them are just on the week of Halloween, one side or the other. Whatever's convenient for the weekends and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
But I've always thought that Halloween being but I mean, Halloween can stay on the 31st, but I always thought that making the night that you do stuff the last Saturday or the last
Yeah,
Friday
it
of
makes sense, right?
October. The last Friday, I think the
Yeah,
last Friday of October would be the best because that would give the kids the chance to do their school parades and stuff too,
right. They do
which is
school
big
parades
here.
for Halloween. Okay.
Yeah.
I think over here that there'll be some acknowledgement, maybe some decorations put up in the
Mhm.
classrooms. Nothing that big and extravagant. It's more a nod than a salute at Halloween over here.
Halloween is actually part of my origin story as
Really? As
Hive
a
Science,
superhero.
as
Okay,
what you
yep.
see here before you. Are you intrigued?
I am. I'm very
Okay.
intrigued. I want to hear
So
the Bumblebee origin story. This is amazing.
so I was selected to be a room parent because in the U.S. There's three big parties every year for school.
Okay.
There's the Halloween party, there's the Christmas
Uh-huh.
party, and what's the third one? I can't remember off the top of my head, but the Valentine's Day party. That's what it is. So there's
Okay.
three big
Yep.
parties that they'll have annually, and you pick to do a room parent for one of them. You pick to send the food or whatever for another one, the treats, and then another when you do drinks or whatever. Anyway, it's divided up like that. But I got selected to be the room parent that had to come in and entertain the kids for the Halloween event.
Okay.
So I didn't know what to do, and we had at the time I had a pet tarantula. I was just one tarantula, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I bring the spider? And I'm like, you know what? Instead of just bringing one spider, and why don't I bring a few
That's
different things, and then we
perfect
can
for
actually talk
Halloween,
about
right?
them. Yeah,
That's beautiful for Halloween. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But I took it too far, and I went out and bought. I was like, I'm gonna maybe go out and get a couple of different tarantulas, so I have a couple of them, so some variety. So I went out
Uh-huh.
I went out to the pet store, and I got another tarantula, and I got a centipede, and I got a scorpion.
And the legend began. How
Yes.
old were you when you did this
Um,
splurge on
so
arachnia and
this was my son's second grade Halloween party. My oldest son, he's
hmm
18 now. He's an adult now. So this was
yeah.
back in if he was so he would have been I was in my mid 20s. I'd have been like 24, 25,
Wow.
something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then yeah, and I kept doing that for I have two other kids, so I did Halloween parties for them, and I started doing Halloween parties just for other classes. Like when I
Right.
go in to do one for my kids, I go to all the classrooms and do it because there was so high demand for it.
hmm
And I did a birthday party, and I was like, oh man, this is something I want to do. Then as those that unfolded, then COVID struck, and it kind of put a
Right.
death nail in
Right.
that. And then so I'm like, what should I do with all this bug stuff that I got and all this? Because I spent time researching about all this different things I had, just learn all
hmm
about the bugs and stuff. What should I do with all this? And I'm like, you know what? I can go on YouTube and do it. And that was about the time the murder hornet stuff was really big. And I'm like,
Right. I
okay,
heard about that. Yeah. Yeah.
it's all BS, and I got to explain this to people. So that was
hmm
what I launched my channel on. So
Oh,
yeah, it all
that's
links back
amazing. Oh,
to
to
being
Halloween. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm,
That's cool. I don't think
mhm.
I'm not sure if you can even get pet tarantulas over here, but they are very cool. I always liked that video clip by Billie Eilish where a tarantula comes out of her mouth, and it's like that is so cool. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, I love it.
I like Billie Eilish too, just in general. But yeah, that clip with tarantula. Um, Tarantulas have been big in pop culture for a long time, but they were always kind of demonized. Spiders in general are
Yeah.
kind of demonized, and I may have been snippy with Neil the 604 atheist earlier today, and I kind of feel guilty about that. So I want to say sorry. I was just wanting to make sure that the truth about spiders was what the world was receiving.
Well, I mean, some spiders over here can be real assholes,
the
especially just generally where they live. But you know, I mean, it's not like they've got anything out for you. It's just there's some real dangerous spiders over here. The
Sydney
funnel web
funnel
OB,
wells are, yeah.
they're very very nasty and can drop out of trees sometimes. The one that I absolutely are afraid of is redbacks, because they hide underneath toilet seats, and that's just not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's not where you want to get bit by a spider.
But I mean, they're demonized as well, because they, like a grown adult, they can't kill a grown adult. It'll just make you really sick.
And they're not even aggressive. You have to like super like molest them to get them to actually bite down on you. It's usually them getting pinched. Like you said, they're stuck between they're pinched down between the toilet seat.
Yeah, exactly.
You sit on them, or they stick your foot in a shoe and they're spiders. That's just spiders too. Most spiders are not aggressive. The funnel web and the Brazilian wandering spider are the only two spiders that I think would be that I would consider a real danger to people, because their aggression. There are tarantulas and things like that are aggressive too, but their venoms are just like a bee sting. But the Brazilian wandering spider and the Sydney funnel web have that aggression, but they also have the venom to pack it up you're biting a primate. So those are just those two stand out. Well, I think we got enough preamble going on here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I could talk about spiders for ages. Actually, I do like spiders.
I think that's something we could probably put on the schedule too. You want to talk about some spiders? Here we go. We got. Gonna share this here, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this review on the road. So today we are visiting Bob Larson, who we've talked about before. I did one of his exorcisms that he performed on an individual where he claimed he was exorcising a demon of communism called Rasputin. Which, if you all don't remember, and I'm glad Mark's here because I know Mark gets the joke, because Rasputin was a czarist. He was helping the czar in the royal family, and the communists were the kind of the people trying to overthrow, and did end up overthrowing the government. That's what we get.
Firmly against communism, because his position relied on the czars, because he was kind of a mystic that the czars had gotten into the court. So his position entirely relied on the czars, and he was against communism because he would have lost his position at court. So why Rasputin? Maybe he turned into a communist after he died. You don't know.
You know what my guess is when he thinks of, because the guy said he was from Russia, when he thinks of Russia, he thinks of two things: Rasputin and communism. So
you know what, this is going to be so hard to take notes. I'm going to take this off. I just realized I looked down and all I see is white. You know, I'm like, oh no, this was not the good idea I thought it was.
I thought it was a brilliant idea. Yeah.
Well, you know, in theory, yes.
You don't have to stay in character. You don't have to stay in character the whole time.
Oh, wonderful! I'll keep the hood on, so at least I look a little bit. I'm going to channel Rasputin by keeping this hood on, and you know, turn into a communist. Your hands
mystically.
Did you ever see a movie called Ed Wood? And he was talking to Bela Lugosi, the guy who played the Dracula, and he's like doing so good. It's just so how you mesmerize the humans. Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's a real true. I mean, the movie is obviously fictionized, the one with Johnny Depp, but Ed Wood Jr. was a real B movie producer that did,
he was.
He did put out some. Move myself up a little bit. I'm having a hard time seeing my screens back there.
Some terrible horror films. Yeah, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah,
we were both going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it out in the other room. It's glorious for how bad it is. It's fantastic. I love it.
All right, so here we go. Bob Larson, Spiritual Freedom with Bob Larson is what we're looking at.
Excuse me, Bree. It is Dr. Bob Larson. Excuse me.
Dr. Bob Larson. I wonder if he got his doctorate at the same place that Hovind did.
Maybe. I'm gonna try and find out while we watch.
Yeah.
I have a warning. Don't be doomed by the Devil's Day, Halloween. The name Halloween is short for Hallowed Eve. This harkens back to when the Catholic Church declared November 1 to be
We're already
all
incorrect. It's not Hallowed Eve. It's All Hallows
All-
Eve,
Yeah,
which
or
is actually
Hallows Eve.
there's actually the Catholic version of that they tried to create to incorporate some of the Northern European traditions, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so I think it came from a Celtic festival called Samhain originally. That was a fertility festival of all things. Like it didn't really have anything to do with the dead, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I remember. And
It's Samhain is how you pronounce it. It's spelled
is it?
like
Okay.
Samhain, yeah, but it's a Gaelic word, so Samhain is how you actually
Samhain.
supposed to say.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic name.
But it is a Celtic holiday. It's like a harvest festival.
Yeah.
And there was especially after the Catholic the idea of putting the All Souls Day on Halloween. So Halloween All Hallows Eve was All Souls Day the day before All Saints Day, which was November 1st. So that's what the Catholic calendar when they sort of took over Northern Europe to help incorporate some of the local calendar, the festivities and stuff, because they weren't just festivities for people to be merry, and they were also a big marketing event. So people would bring their harvest in to market, and that's what kind of spurred it all into. And then entertainers would come because people were there with their money to buy their harvest, and traders would come, and you'd have all this cultural amalgamation. So incorporating those days into the church calendar where it was important. So that's where they said, okay, we're going to take these market days and these harvest festivals, and we're going to incorporate them, and we're going to call it All Souls Day, which incorporated commemorating the dead loved ones, and then All Saints Day the day after was commemorating the saints specifically. Leading up to the winter season, which then you come into the Christmas holiday, and it's the start of getting lighter. The day is getting longer, and I'm getting into a long tangent, and we're 30 seconds into this video. I did the same thing last night.
That's okay. Well, it's weird as well, because I thought hallowed means sort of sacred or holy kind of thing, sanctified kind of stuff. But yeah. I can't find this guy's credentials. I really cannot. Like, it's got nothing about him. What is he a doctor of?
Yeah, I never noticed he calls himself a doctor before. I'm kind of actually surprised that took me aback when you said that.
Okay, so he attended the University of Nebraska as a pre-med major with intentions of becoming a doctor. His primary studies were in languages, comparative anatomy, and chemistry. Instead of pursuing a medical degree, left a higher education for a short career in motivational speaking. Okay, so apparently he is a medical doctor, apparently.
Oh, and motivational speaker is what they call what he's doing here.
Well, it said his short career, so I doubt that that's what he calls what he's doing. But then he turned to religion.
Okay, let's hear what he has to say about Halloween.
Saints Day that happened back in 835 AD. So the hallowed evening, the night before, was contracted to the more simple form, Halloween. What images come to mind when you hear the word Halloween?
Well, for me, candy corn and pumpkins. I think of the Thriller music video. I can't help but think of that.
Skeletons.
Yeah.
Skeletons come to mind for me.
Witches and black cats.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's probably not the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching scary movies on Halloween, so that's something that comes to mind.
I like horror movies when they're absolutely dreadful, like just terrible.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah, I love
love
a
a
cheesy B
terrible.
movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got some
But
recommendations for you too. So
oh, okay. I love to take them. No, I love it. Once my wife and we went down south in Western Australia and stayed at like this really old place that was, like a bed and breakfast thing. Found out later it was a convent or an ex-convent that had been changed into a sort of stay house kind of thing.
yeah,
So we just had to watch The Nun there, and that was hilarious. That was just so bad.
The Nun,
Yeah, The Nun.
from the Conjuring universe movie.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
Oh yeah,
throwing
that's
eggs at
based on.
houses. Wow. Okay.
They were almost as bad as this guy, the Warrens that's based on. They're real people.
Yes. Yeah, and they're just charlatans. Really, they're
Right.
100% charlatans. Yeah.
They're what you see here with Bob Larson. He's carrying on that legacy that the Warrens kind of laid out.
Death, darkness, gloom, doom.
Oh, sorry.
Zombies, the undead, witches,
Yeah.
ghosts, spiders,
Yeah.
skeletons.
He says all this
that's
stuff
a
like
bit-
it's bad.
That's a bit racially motivated there. I mean, that looks like somebody. That looks more like.
Day of the Dead. Day of
Yeah.
Mortis,
Yes, that's the one
Yeah.
I was thinking of. The
the
Mortis,
sugar
yeah.
skull
Yeah.
painting. Yeah. I like Day of Mortis too. I like Halloween. I love all the holidays that are
Are they
around
on the
this
same
season.
day? Are they on the same
No,
day? Is that a
I
different
think-
thing? I thought it was a different day.
I think, correct if I'm wrong, if anybody in the audience knows, if anybody out there, is it on the, I think it was, what I understand is I think it's on the Saturday, the first Saturday of November for Deus de Mortis, but it might be just the second.
Yes,
of
it's November 1 and 2, yes. But it may be October 31 to November 6, depending on the locality kind of thing. So it is, I guess it is kind of Halloween-ish, but I mean, I've always seen their celebration as a bit more beautiful than the Western one kind of thing. It's very culturally significant, I guess. I guess Halloween for us is too, I suppose. But I don't know. There's just something very lovely about the.
It's brighter. It's definitely a brighter
Right.
way to express the holidays.
Yeah.
And
it's more
there's
about
a Latin flair to it.
Well, yeah, there's a Latin flair, but it's more about death than ghosts and goblins kind of thing. It's more about celebrating the dead, which is kind of a lovely sentiment.
It's because like Coco. I mean, I actually have a friend of mine that's of Mexican heritage, and they still do they put the altars out for the family on the first week in November. They just leave them out that whole week, and the kids put treats out for them, I guess. And it's kind of like the way that Western culture up here does Santa Claus. That we eat the cookies and milk they leave out for Santa.
Right. Yeah.
The parents leave the treats that the kids leave out for the deceased loved ones. I guess they do that kind of similarly. Yeah, I know it seems a little bit darker when you think about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of just. I think it's kind of beautiful that they acknowledge death, and sort of. I think there's a in the West there's sort of an unnecessary fear of death kind of thing. There's an unnecessary. I'm getting really morbid, aren't I? I'm absolutely ruining the stream. I'm sorry, Brett.
It's a Halloween stream. It's going to be about death and stuff.
Well,
like that.
that's
Actually,
true,
there's a video of somebody getting lost in the catacombs. I thought about covering this Saturday, but yeah, May 5th is Cinco de Mayo. That's a different.
That's right. Yeah,
different Mexican day, Mexican holiday.
I get those two confused too. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Name one redeeming aspect of Halloween. It's a day
you get to dress up.
Yeah, creativity.
Candy? Who doesn't like sweets?
Sexual
moderation.
liberation.
Yeah.
You get to dress up real slutty and go out and, you know, enjoy
I will be
time.
extra slutty this Halloween, I promise you.
Woohoo! Community, bonding with your fellow humanity. Come
Even
on, Bob.
church groups can, like I was talking about before, the trunk or
Right,
treat.
right.
Church groups get together and they do fundraisers and things like that. You can, if capitalism in the West has proven anything, it's that you can commodify any tradition and make it a net gain for the big
Right.
corporations.
Pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah.
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 Hey, all about evil. Halloween is the Devil's Day. Halloween.
Do you believe in evil, Mark? Let's get philosophical here for a second. I do not. I do not. I think evil is just a point on the spectrum of what you feel, what you individually feel, what ought and ought not happen, and evil is just where there's an extremity to it, where you draw. It's your personal line that you draw and say that what's on that side of the line is evil.
Yeah, so it really depends on what you're classifying as evil, right? So some people will classify sort of morality, things that go against your morality as evil. I'm fine with that definition. I will use evil in a colloquial sense to describe things that go against morality. I will also use evil colloquially to describe things that cause suffering to people. So, you know, if I think there's a insect that lays eggs in children's eyes and blind them, I may say colloquially that's evil. But I don't believe in a supernatural evil.
But it's not evil for the insect, right? So it
right,
can be objectively
exactly.
evil because the insects, it's freaking great for them. Hey, these things have these perfect nests in their face for us.
Right. Well, I don't believe in objective morality at all. So,
me either.
you know, yeah. So I think that yeah, for them it's a great thing, but of course they are. Of course
the
they
devil
are. I think
is my homeboy.
Yeah, you've been celebrating Halloween. Is that Marshall? I haven't seen Marshall for ages. It's fantastic. Good to see you.
Halloween is the second most important day, by the way, for classical Satanists. Second only to one's birthday. Of course, the birthday comes first because Satanists are all about being self-centered.
That's it. Ban the birthday. Ban the birthday. It's the devil's day. It's the
you can only celebrate Jesus' birthday. No, nothing else.
Right. How dare you? How dare you have fun on your birthday?
Have some piety, people.
Right.
Have a little humility.
And it's just amazing that they miss that most Satanists don't take a literal view of Satan. Like they just, it's baffling that they kind of miss that, and that it's to a lot of them it's more about philosophy. And of course that your birthday is the most important day because you're the most important person to yourself.
Yeah, and that's like you hear the apologist and the mostly the people on their side chats and things who I engage with who will talk about Aaron Ra and Emma Thorne and these people that are part of the Church of Satan as if they're actually worshiping the devil. And I try to explain to them that they're not the type of Satanist that actually believes that the devil is a true entity. And they're like, no, they do. They argue with me that they do. I'm friends with Aaron Ra. You know, Aaron Ra's in my DMs. I know that he's an atheist through and through, but he supports the cause of the Satanic Church because the activism that he does. Same thing with Emma Thorne. But they can't separate that.
Yeah, regardless of what they say. I mean, it's sort of that whole idea when you say, well, I don't believe in God, and they say, well, yeah, you do, kind of thing. And it's like, why are you interpreting what other people's thoughts are? It's just sheer delusion that you think you know what these people think and believe. I don't know why anybody would claim to know that a Satanist actually worships Satan when they say no, it's the philosophical guy. Well, that's an interesting question. That's a fascinating question. Go for it, Brie. I'll let you.
We actually were discussing this momentarily before. when we were talking about what we were going to be covering tonight, me and Mark, because he wasn't familiar with our friend here. And I explained that, yes, he dresses like a Catholic priest. And I do like the face he has in this freeze frame. I didn't aim to do this, but it just worked perfect. He's doing that. Ooh. But he dresses like this and kind of role plays as this. He's got the little cross around his neck and the collar and everything, but he's not a Catholic priest. He's not even Catholic. He is actually evangelical, and he has his own ministry.
No, apparently not. He's a Protestant, apparently.
He's not evangelical? Okay, I thought he was evangelical.
I'm not sure. Well, I'm reading. Okay, so sort of while we were sort of watching, I was doing some Googling kind of thing, performing some Google foo.
Yeah.
And apparently he runs the Spiritual Freedom Church of Phoenix, Arizona, and he launched the International School of Exorcism.
Okay,
the first internet. This is wonderful.
He comes across like a deliverance ministry to me. That's kind of the impression I got. It sounds like maybe something else. Maybe he's a little different. Maybe I misinterpreted him.
I'm not sure. He does sound like an evangelical, though. Continues his life work to raise up a generation of warriors for Christ. That sounds so evangelical, like seriously. But about his school says, unfortunately, not a single Protestant denomination has a seminary that teaches exorcism. Until now, but Reverend Bob Larson, the world's foremost Protestant exorcist. So,
would evangelicals that would be a subset of Protestant, right?
I believe so.
Because it's cleanly split there. The schism between Protestant and Catholicism. Evangelicals, they are most evangelical churches are Baptist, right? So
right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear.
Yeah. So evangelicals are evangelical Protestantism. So yes, they are Protestant. So presumably he would be evangelical.
All right. So let's see. What was explained what he is. Yeah. So with and it's because he mentions that there's no other exorcism church in or training in a Protestant church or what have you, but that's because in Protestant churches it's not generally called exorcism; it's called deliverance ministry, where they aren't doing exorcisms, which are a Catholic tradition, generally done kind of privately, and there's a lot of prerequisites to it, a lot of steps that lead up to it. There's when you get into it, there's a lot of rituals. I believe it's like hours and hours of rituals.
Yes.
That are involved with a Catholic exorcism, whereas a deliverance ministry is something very different. There's a lot of laying of hands. Sometimes they get a little violent and pushy. What you see in an evangelical church when they're healing people and things like that. It's very similar to that, except for they're beating demons out of people. And you've watched someone like Bob Larson, he will assault his congregation with his Bible. He will beat them with the Bible. And when you watch him do his exorcisms, he's very physical and very aggressive, which is the nature of a deliverance as well, if you watch deliverance ministry. So he's doing cosplay as a Catholic, dressing the role and using the terminology, but what he's actually doing when he's out in the field is more akin to what you see with someone like Pastor Greg Locke doing.
So do you think he's trying to tap into a cultural perception of what an exorcist looks like from the movie The Exorcist? Because that was Catholic priests, right, in that movie. And that's sort of when we think of an exorcist, that's what comes up for people. Is the
he's obviously it's part of his marketing. He's the real exorcist. That's what he calls himself, like the real exorcist, and uses the imagery of from those movies, which is funny because he admonishes Hollywood's horror movies and things like that, and kind of puts them down and insults them. But
he's tapping into that very meme of what an exorcist ought to look like.
Right.
Because
He's he's portraying himself as a horror movie character while
Yeah,
talking crap about horror movies.
yeah,
Because he's not, because again, the exorcist in the movies are nothing like what an exorcist or like real Catholic exorcist is like. They wouldn't.
right.
The people who do this ritual, from what I understand, is for the most part they aren't dressing in this outfit. They wear the big robes and things like that when they're doing these. It's a whole shindig that they have to go through. And there's
But the characters in The Exorcist wore exactly this. That's what
Yes.
they wore. They wore
that's what the characters wore.
priests, normal clothes. So, really, Brie, a religious person being hypocritical, I never thought I'd see the day. I never, it's never happened before, right?
Yeah, let's.
Maybe this is his Halloween.
Yeah,
so the high-end
costume.
Why is he opposed to us wearing costumes when he wears a costume for a living?
Right.
Holy Day of Witchcraft. That dates back to the 3rd century.
Wait, is that a Yellow Pages?
Ancient Druids of
Yeah, it's a
Is that a Yellow Pages?
Page. Yeah.
Hang on, is that maybe what was that Johnny Depp film that was pretty bad, where he's a vampire?
Is it the Dark Shadows?
Yeah,
looks
Dark
like
Shadows.
his fingers
Yeah.
from that. Yes, actually,
Yeah.
it does. And it looks like he's looking for a blood donor too. So
Right. So
think you're right.
that's vampires, not witches. How
Yeah.
dare you, Bob Larson?
Getting it all mixed up. There's a witch in that movie too, so he had the option if he wanted to use clips from that movie.
Right, sure. Well, I think the
movie
witch
was awful.
wasn't like a traditional witch. It was the witch was quite attractive, I think. So I think that wouldn't work for his skulls and blood and demonic candles and fingernails. So
yeah, she's
look,
be like,
you got to
like
use what you can
Wizard
get
of
hold
Oz.
of.
Yeah.
But again,
Fingernail.
he's using an image from Hollywood to get his point across while disparaging the Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually using their footage to talk crap on him.
Have it happen, yeah.
Celtic Gaul. The choice of date was rooted in agrarian cultures for whom this time of year was a season of cold and increasing darkness. It was believed to be the time when the veil between the living and the dead was most thin.
For some cultures, for other cultures, there were different dates that was supposed to be. I think in Egypt it was at the equinoxes, and in Greece, I think it was closer to the equinoxes too. But in Northern Europe, because of the tilt of the Earth, the date was kind of different, I guess.
Well, I think that oh, sorry, go ahead, Bray.
No, yeah, because the tilt of the Earth made the change in the seasons take place, kind of at a different level at depending on where you were on the latitude.
Yeah, but I think the sort of Northern European festival that it sort of stemmed off is more to do with when they gathered up all of the crops for winter, not really the darkening of everything. I don't think that's what.
Well, I think they did. They used like the solar cycle to tell them when to do that.
Yeah.
They had, they had like a calendar that they would go by based on the solar cycle and the lunar cycle to a lesser extent. I would imagine. But,
sure.
I don't have any facts to back up the lunar cycle, but I can't imagine them not recognizing the 28-day lunar cycle in Northern Europe.
It was a season when dead ancestors could come back to haunt the living.
See, now he slipped into the Cinco de Mayo.
They were
Dios de los Muertos.
Yeah, Dios de los Muertos. He's now I'm getting it wrong. But he slipped back into that. I don't think that's what the original sort of Halloween was about. But
yeah, I think that was more of a notion that was tacked on when the later Catholic tradition that was tacked on to it. Because Catholics were all about, and Catholics still are all about ghosts and demons and things like that, which again, you're dependent on the aesthetics too here, Bob.
Well, think about this. If Halloween is indeed the devil's day, why did Satan need a particular day to focus on evil?
Good question. What this is extra biblical, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing about October 31st or even any fall holiday because
Right.
well, mostly because the Bible was written in the ancient Near East where the seasons weren't really that impactful as they were in the regions where these harvest festivals originated.
Well, I mean, he's sort of making the assumption that Satan's got this special day, but nothing like he hasn't actually pointed out that there's anything connecting Satan or Lucifer or the devil to this particular day. Um, he's just sort of taken it for granted that all of his congregation believes that, so he's just going to assume it and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's already that's a prerequisite to listening to this. Is you
right,
already have to have
right.
accepted that.
But the question is, why is it the devil's day? He skips over that part. It's got, he's just sort of said, well, why does the devil need this day? Is it the devil's day? You've just sort of more stated it than explained it.
Yeah, like so it used to be a popular trend in the U.S. anyway, but youth pastors used to call Halloween the devil's birthday to the people that they were pastors for. Because I remember hearing that
Right.
from so many kids in my classes growing up that their pastor had told them that Halloween's the devil's birthday and we shouldn't celebrate it.
So this is an aside, and I'm you can go back on topic if you want, but I've heard that there are like Halloween houses in the US, and then the church got hold of that and made them hell houses. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can. Some of the churches, mostly the Baptist churches, will do
Right.
I guess sort of Halloween party thing. It was more of a anti-Halloween party, and they have houses as you
Edgy.
go through. And they generally have like a hall you go through where there's like a graffiti spray paint on the wall, maybe some hypodermics without the needle in them, obviously, like
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bree, you okay? You cut
you
out a
go
little
in
bit
and you
there.
see people. Am I
Oh, you're
back?
back. You're back now. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's good. And yeah, then you'll go through that little hall of horrors like that, and you'll go into something with hell that people getting tortured for different
Oh,
sins
lovely.
and vices. Yeah, biblical sins. So, yep, hell houses is what they call them.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's very simple.
I mean, Halloween houses and scare houses. At least they're not telling the kids that they're real. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah, that's awful. Sorry,
I no, I love going through scary houses. They make me I get euphoric about them, really. So
Satan abides by what I call the law of conservation of evil energy. See,
the law of conservation of evil
yes.
energy. It's different than
Could
the law
you?
of conservation of regular energy.
Right. Sounds real scientific, Bob. Sounds real scientific. Conservation.
Conservation of evil
the devil
energy.
isn't omnipotent. God is. God alone is all powerful all the time.
So that means he can like just wipe out Satan, just all his evil and all the hell. Even on Halloween, God's all powerful.
Yeah.
Just wipe it away. Yeah, right.
Well, and plus,
He does
it's
it.
weird that there's a conservation of evil energy, but no law of conservation of good energy. What's going on here, Bob? What?
Yeah.
It's. I think
Maybe,
he's pulling stuff out of his ass. To be honest
good
with you,
energy
I'm
is made
sorry.
with cold fusion, Mark. Sorry, but
Right.
the angels in heaven figured out cold fusion long ago.
God's got a perpetual good energy machine somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
Satan doesn't get that, so he has to work for his and stoke his fires with human souls.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so we just came full circle again. Let's hear what he has to say.
Not a single day since creation has the Almighty been bereft of his total power over creation. He has always had on every day unlimited power and authority. By the way, authority is the right to act, and power is the ability to enforce an action. Let me give you an example.
So,
A police-
why does God allow the devil to have that day and go hog wild on that day then?
Yeah, so I was kind of waiting for him to say, because it's like there's no day where the God doesn't have absolute power, but if the devil
Right.
has any power at all on Halloween, that day the
Right.
devil cannot have absolute power, unless the devil has his power by the grace of God, which means that
Right.
God's giving him that power, because that would put that under what God's what's the word I'm looking for, under his, not dominion, but well, maybe dominion would work. Yeah, the devil's power would be under God's dominion.
Well, the old beliefs before Christianity were sort of on that particular day, the walls so fairies and otherworldly creatures could kind of approach the earth kind of thing, and you had to placate them with gifts.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, that God is absolutely powerful, but this one day, watch out, the devil's running around on this day. It's like, well, why?
God's day off. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If God's eternal and all powerful and has absolute dominion over every day, that directly contrasts a day where the devil has the upper hand. How can he possibly have the upper hand at any point? At any point.
Yeah, it's self-contradicting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the contradiction's built into the concept.
Well, I don't think he's going to explain that. He's going to, let's say his explanation for it, because this cop
it's going to
does
be
not
something to do with a cop. Yeah,
that is a fake cop from stock footage. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's hear.
May pull you over for speeding because he has the authority to do so. His badge and gun means he also has the power to make you stop. Well, that's the difference between power and authority. Omnipotent, that word comes from the Latin omnis, which means...
I like how it has this like Cheech and Chong smoke letters up here, telling you what omnipotent, how it's spelled. In case you wanted to look it up when you're at home, when you're learning to be an exorcist from Barb Larson videos, you're like, what is it? How do you spell omnipotent?
The first thing I thought was chalk, or like a child's chalk drawing, or perhaps it's lines of Coke for Bob here. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that gives him a happy feeling.
I thought of Cheech and Chong immediately.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
When it goes away, just... yeah.
Potens, meaning powerful. Well, the word omnipotent isn't in the Bible. The word almighty is. It appears in virtually every book of the Old Testament, and a total of 345 times in the Bible. El Shaddai, most of you know that from the song, it means God most powerful or God Almighty. So being omnipotent means God can do what he wants. When
are we getting to a cop out here? Because it seems like, this isn't a long video. It's only 7 minutes and 18 seconds, and we're 4 minutes in.
It's kind of like, so to use this cop analogy, I really want to look at this analogy. It's like the cop has the power and the authority to pull you over, but on this one day, he's eating a donut, doesn't give a shit, just allows you to sail on by doing 140, like it just doesn't care for some reason on this one day.
Yeah, so God's gonna have a day that he's gonna be like, whatever.
Fuck it,
cops can do that. Yeah.
Oh, you don't mind swearing on this stream, do you? I do apologize. I didn't ask. No. Okay. I'm not.
You're fine.
I'm not. I'm Australian. Yeah. It's our culture.
Well, we're it's almost 11 p.m. here, so yeah. It's,
okay.
Well past cussing hours or cursing hours.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
He wants to do it, except that he cannot do what is logically inconsistent with his nature.
Which would be like giving up one day of not being omnipotent. And that would be against his nature, right?
Well, the only time it causes a problem is when that God is all good, right? That's the omnibenevolence thing is the only time it trips up, because God could decide to take a day off and say, hey, you're on your own, guy,
Okay.
the devil's out and walking. That's fine, but that doesn't pair with omnibenevolence, that he is all good, because obviously that's a very evil act. If he has the power to stop something, the authority to stop something, and lets it happen anyway, then that's when you get into problems.
It seems
That
like he should have the power to do that without any strain at all. Like it wouldn't
Oh,
even
absolutely,
inconvenience
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing to an omnipotent being to stop that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So why this particular day? That's fine. He could just say, "Hey, that's God's day to let humans do humans and devil do devil or whatever." Except if he's claiming omnibenevolence, and then it's a problem.
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be omnipowerful, though, and we all know that he needs a day of rest. So that's
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
yeah.
Make the earth flat or a round circle square. Most important, though, he can't forgive sin without a sacrifice.
But that's like we just was talking about, that
That
he can't be omnipowerful with and need rest too. So this
Yeah.
Halloween's his day of rest. Whatever. Anyway, what were you gonna
Yeah.
say, Mark?
Oh, that's disturbing. He can't forgive sin without a sacrifice. Why?
Why?
That's not logically incompatible with any of the things that he brought up. He's glossing over why he needs a sacrifice to forgive.
It reminds me, and this is going to kind of go off on a tangent here. It kind of reminds me of the part in Monty Python where they're talking about the lady in the lake, that saying that the
Oh,
taking
yes. Oh, that
uh
is my favorite part of any Monty Python. That was in the Holy Grail.
yes, it's a
Yep.
horrible form of government. That's this
Yes.
horrible form of, yeah, that's the same thing with the
Yes.
way that you're describing God running his universe. Is a horrible
So
system.
it's like watery tarts lying in ponds, distributing swords is a terrible way to run a terrible basis for a system of government.
Yeah.
It's basically that if some moistened bint lobbed a scimitar at me and I went around saying I'm emperor, they'd put me away. I love that so much. And that's
Yes.
the supreme executive power comes from a mandate of the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. It's just
Yes, the different terms they come up with
Yeah.
to describe it.
but you know what? The first time, or one of the first times I saw that was actually in a high school politics class. The teacher showed that because the peasant is making so much sense. Like this is how we get executive power, not from some mystic ritual that puts them there. It is an absolute bash on aristocracy completely, but who claim, well, English aristocracy in particular, who claims
Well, aristocracy is biblical anyway. That's what it's based on. They're
Yeah. I mean, don't forget there's what you'd call, I'm talking about the sort of political structure of aristocracy like you'd have in China, the emperors and things like that. That certainly wasn't based on the Bible, but it was all based upon some sort of divine right to rule. That was what it was all based upon. And that's what the peasant was saying in that Monty Python sketch, that what kind of power structure do we have where it's based upon some mystical, permission system to rule? That's ridiculous. And the peasant's making so much sense.
Yeah, the divine right, I guess, is the
Right.
source of it all.
Yep.
You maintain that your bloodline was chosen by powers from beyond to rule. Then who can question that? Who can question those powers from beyond? But the peasants, like because the powers from beyond aren't giving us a reason to trust them, or reason to believe that they're right.
Right.
As it says in Hebrews 9:22, and according to the law, almost all things are purified with blood, and without shedding of blood, there is no remission.
At the beginning of the video, he was talking about how Halloween has no redeeming qualities. It's all dark and macabre and about death. And it's like, now what's good and positive is blood sacrifice.
Blood sacrifice, yeah. the hypocrisy. And you know, just to say something, blood doesn't purify things. There's a lot of bloodborne disease. Don't fuck around with blood so much unless you're
it's not a good
being
idea.
sanitary about it. Well, be sanitary about it and things, but you know, come on. Like this whole idea that blood purifies is such an ancient ideal. And you're right, this is more disturbing than any image I get of Halloween, is these pastors going, blood sacrifice, we have to kill a chosen person to purge. That is way more disturbing to me than, you know, kids running around
triangle holes in a pumpkin.
Right. Or you know, kids running around dressed as ghosts and skeletons. Come on, that's harmless. This sounds friggin' scary
anymore. Kids dress as like freaking Iron Man and Disney princess.
Yeah, that's true. That's like true. Yeah, real sinister there, isn't it? Like, you know, you just see, it's Cinderella running around. Oh, that's evil. Evil, I tell you.
It's an old English reference to the word forgiveness, remission, forgiveness. At some point in antiquity.
So God takes his forgiveness in blood. I mean, not that we didn't already know that. We just want to double down on that notion based on his opener again about how sinister Halloween imagery is. Let's keep in mind what the central symbol of Christianity as a whole is, which is a execution, a public execution.
Well, torture and execution, really, if you want to be accurate about it. But this whole idea of forgiveness in blood, I think, if I'm correct, and I may be wrong about this, but I think it goes back to the whole idea of when somebody wronged you back in sort of medieval times, someone had to be punished for that forgiveness. Like, in order to forgive another clan, you would have to go and punish them in some way, like through killing one of theirs. So
taking all their cattle or whatever was at least in Ireland, that was a popular one, taking the
and sort of they killed one of yours, you would kill one of theirs as atonement or forgiveness kind of thing. It's a very outdated, outmoded, and quite frankly pretty dangerous idea.
It's eye for the eye, right? That's what version is eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye, hand for a hand. You know, this kind of stuff isn't, you know, it isn't what we'd consider to be a humane way to carry out forgiveness. It's very inhumane. Like, imagine if somebody, you know, put out somebody's eye and you go around blinding them, kind of thing. It's not. It's actually quite scary.
Yeah, and I mean, this could very well lead me into a rant about capital punishment, but I'm gonna hold my tongue and keep it about Halloween.
Look, another time, because I've got very strong feelings on capital punishment and corporal punishment for that matter. So
me too.
Satan selected the autumnal season, which we now know as Halloween. It was to be the time to marshal his forces. We don't really know what the demonic logic was, but we do see the
demonic logic.
Is that different than normal logic? Is that modal logic?
I was going to ask, hey, you still got your Google powers up? So
look
up
absolutely.
Demonic logic and see if there's actually if that's just a buzz term that he's throwing out now, or
Well, there's Descartes' demon. That's a daemon more. The devil's logic. Yeah, no, it's I think demonic logic. No, not really.
So his own original terminology. Then that's how we'll describe it.
I think so. I mean, there's a clothing brand called Demonic Logic, but I don't think that's what he's talking about.
It's not what he's talking about. Maybe, but
well, no. So Descartes.
Go ahead, Descartes.
Descartes went into Descartes' demons, sort of malicious demon, but I think it's a demon as in a concept in philosophy, like some problem in philosophy kind of thing.
Like the demons, like the nagging issue or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
The figurative demon.
Correct.
This choice. horror movies of Hocus Pocus, Fear and Fright are
Let's remember that this guy has already used video clips from horror movies in his production.
Well, let's
Like
see.
surely
That's
under
quite
fair
a lineup.
use.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
How many of these can you name? I can name every single one of them.
Really, Friday the 13th, The Shining, Hellraiser. That is Poltergeist up there.
Yeah.
Predator. Is Predator a horror movie? I don't.
It's like
I think you've got the wrong. Yeah, I mean that's Aliens, which definitely. I mean that could be a horror movie. The first one, I suppose, but it's more a sci-fi than horror.
You know this though right here.
Is that Halloween? Is that
no? This is Halloween right here. That's Michael Myers.
Okay, you're right.
This
I don't
is
know
Leatherface.
Oh,
Texas
okay.
Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah.
Oh, is that Addams Family? The original Morticia from Addams Family?
I think that's Lily Munster, isn't it? From the Munsters.
Oh, yeah, you're
the
probably
eyebrows
right.
make me think that's Lily.
But the Munsters, that wasn't even well, Addams Family wasn't even scary. King Kong, I don't know if that King Kong would be counted as a horror movie. Godzilla is not a horror movie. Come on.
The first Godzilla is a drama. It's if you watch the one from 1954, well, released in the U.S. in 1954, it's a drama. It's not campy like they became later.
Right.
This Godzilla that's on the screen right here is from that movie.
That's The Fly. That is, little shop of horrors. That's Carrie on the side there, I think.
Right.
That's Evil Dead. Definitely.
Mr.
But
Ash
I thought,
Williams.
Yeah, is that Evil Dead as well in the center? The girl. What's the girl from?
This
with the that.
The Exorcist.
Is that The Exorcist? Oh, of course it is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Spins around with pea soup. There's
that
the
one on
blob.
the blob. Yeah, which was actually I found that really scary. Actually, Silence of the Lambs is up here. Oh, they've got Chucky from Child's Play. They've got the ghost from Scream. Our pictures are hiding some of it. I can't see what's.
Do you know what this one is right here?
Is that the birds?
Yeah, I didn't know if you get it or not, but she did. Awesome. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's all I can really.
Have you seen the new Hellraiser?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
I haven't either. My son was watching it the other night, and he was in the middle of it, so I no, I've seen these. At this point, I'm
no spoiler
from the beginning. Yeah.
Chat. Can you help me out? Is it scary or not? Is it decent watch? Can you recommend new Hellraiser? 13 Ghosts. I've seen 13 Ghosts. That's the one in the house, isn't it? The house with all of the glass in it.
Yeah, the Juggernaut in that he's the big junkyard guy. He's pretty badass.
I can't see that on there.
Like that too.
Are
everywhere. Symbols of witchcraft and divination abound. Death, terror. It's on everyone's mind.
I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I wanted to know whether you'd seen The Mist as a it's a pretty average movie, but the ending is a shocker. It's the most horrible ending I've ever seen in a horror movie. Hellraiser's pretty good. Okay, and that's the new one, Godseed. I have not seen it. I have to admit, with horror movies lately, they haven't really been scaring me. I find it hard to find a horror movie that actually rattles me. I think the two that rattled me by the same director was probably Midsommar and got it. I've seen a couple of them. I didn't find them that scary though. They were good. They were good, but I didn't find the old Hellraisers that scary. But Midsommar and Hereditary were absolutely frightening, especially Hereditary. That is a frightening movie. I was rattled by that, and scary movies really don't rattle me a lot, and that one was frightening.
I have a soft spot specifically for 80s slasher movies when they were doing practical effects and things like that. That's like my bag. That's why when you had Evil Dead pulled up there, I'm like, heck yeah, because Evil Dead's kind of the king of that well, and except for that, you consider Tom Savini, of course, and he did the first Friday the 13th and the fourth one, including that sweet scene where Jason slides down the machete.
Mhm.
I don't know if you watched Friday the 13th movies or not, but I grew up with them.
No, that's something that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was just saying to the chat, like horror movies don't really scare me anymore that much. I don't. I think there's a difference between American horror movies and something like Japanese horror movies. If you
Yeah.
see like The Ring in the original Japanese is frightening.
Ringo.
That is
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and look, the Japanese idea of horror is kind of you're trapped in this situation and there's no way out, and they're struggling to get out, and it's
Mm-hmm.
this sort of constricting feeling of everything closing in, and there's no escape, and it's really scary. What doesn't scare me is the jump scares. I snooze. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't. Jump scares are just cheap.
Yeah.
But I think it's watching those old Japanese horror films that are so well done, that has sort of made me like that.
Did you know that the producer who did The Ring he also did The Grudge? I can't remember what the name of
Yes.
it is. Chuan's
Ju-on,
Chuan
yeah.
Chuan. Yeah. Anyway, that he made a crossover movie with both of the characters.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah,
I did not
and
know that.
actually, yeah, it's cheesy, so you love it. Um, and you can watch like most of it. I think it's been a couple of years since I watched it, but most of it was on YouTube.
Hmm.
Like with the you could watch it with like over like 3 or 4 clips.
Well, the Japanese version, I know that the American version of The Grudge was pretty average, but the Japanese version is actually really frightening. It is actually pretty scary.
I'm actually a big Sarah Michelle Gellar fan, so I like
Oh, look,
more.
how could you not be?
Yeah,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a true
right.
genius, work of genius. I'm sorry, it is. If you don't accept that, just no,
Yeah, I
no.
still watch reruns of Buffy. It's a comfort show for me.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was sort of going through my teenage years, that was on, and that was an awesome show. That was fantastic. The two best episodes were definitely Hush and the musical episode.
Oh yeah,
Fight anyone.
once more with feeling. Yes.
Yeah. But the Hush was my favorite episode. I thought that was genius.
Talking about because Buffy, most of the time the villains were kind of cheesy, and there was a little.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah.
no cheesy cuteness to the Hush villains. They're just to the gentlemen. They're just
horrifying.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go, Bob.
You see, the devil must conserve his evil energy. He can't do this evil at the same intensity every day. People would tire of it.
It sounds like he's got a workout routine.
It's like we were talking about before. Heaven has the perpetual motion machine, but hell's run on a convection oven or whatever. Not a convection oven, but like a boiler or something is what's pumping the engines down there.
I'm just imagining all these demons on bikes just pedaling furiously, kind of thing, to try and make the energy.
Work.
But it wouldn't be special anymore to dress your child as a witch and mimic haunting spirits of the netherworld. One day each year, and in fact, it's actually the space between the 1st of September and October 31, that is the time when fearfulness and dread.
Bob Larson officially announced that Halloween is a whole month, y'all. I'm going to start from now on, start of September. It's Halloween all the way through.
I thought he said November and 29th.
I thought he said September. Let's rewind the tape.
He wouldn't have made that mistake. No, not Bob. Bob's. Yeah. That's a glorious shot too.
Halloween between the 1st of September and October 31.
September. Oh, you're right. What the hell, Bob? Yeah. What are you talking about, Bob?
He's trying to give us the 1st of September too. That's 2 whole months.
That is, yeah.
I mean, I'm
I'm
down.
sure he meant November, right? He must have meant November, right?
Or the 1st of October, maybe I could give the whole month of October. I could understand.
No, I think he probably meant November, and it was, yeah, I don't know.
You think he was saying it like from November to October? Like
well, if it was like the end of October to the 1st of November, that would be Halloween kind of thing. Oh, hello, Big Bad Mama. It's so good to see you.
Yes, hello, darling. Yeah, we got Bob Larson up here on the screen teaching us about the evils of Halloween. All right. And I got Brian Stevens in here too. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
All right, let's
That is the time when fearfulness and dread, vampires and ghosts are the most prevalent. I may sound
stop watching those movies, Bob. Like, is your experience of Halloween getting to like that time after midnight and at a party or whatever? Is that your experience fearfulness and dread? You know what I mean? Like, is that the experience you've come across? Because it certainly isn't what I've come across.
No. There's been some dread on Halloween's. I know I've spent some Halloween nights hugging the porcelain goddess, in the evening, but
yes,
never fearful like that. There's the zombies gonna climb out or something, or no vampires. I'm actually surprised to hear Bob acknowledge that he believes vampires are like real, because that's an interesting. I'd like to explore that if he has more videos on it. If he believes in vampires. Because I've been looking for an excuse to cover the vampire topic, and just nobody's putting out any videos where they actually believe in real vampires anymore.
Well, I came across somebody that thought that Prince Charles, because he'd said he was related to Vlad the Impaler.
I watched that. That was a dinosaur debate.
That was a dinosaur debate. Yes, that was
Vlad the Impaler and the Prince of Wales. It was the Prince of Wales at the time. I guess it's King of England now. But
it is. So apparently, a vampire now rules over England. So there you go. The conspiracy confirmed. King. Yes, the Vampire King.
Like a curmudgeon, but I don't even like churches trying to co-opt the day.
You are a curmudgeon, Bob, about like all things pop culture. You should have this video about the movie Venom. Venom Let There Be Carnage, the sequel. It wasn't even a good movie. He made like a 20-minute, I don't know if it was 20 minutes, like 15-minute video ranting about how awful it was, how demonic it was. Venom, the comic book character.
That's an alien, Bob. That's not even a demon or something. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was weird. I could take my channel too if you ever watched that.
You broke apart there, bro. You might want to repeat that.
I was just saying that Sir Sick's a good channel. I like watching Sir Sick, and my computer's probably heating up a bit, but we're about done anyway. About a little bit over a minute left.
Why acknowledge the night at all? However, even Protestants can honor the saints of old. That's not exclusively a Catholic thing. How about spending the evening reading the epistles of Paul? There's a saint we can all honor.
Do you want to read Paul instead of going trick-or-treating, kids? Let's see how that goes over.
Yeah, let's all sit down and read the epistles of Paul, and instead of getting candy, we can discuss. Oh wow!
Salvation.
Why do we celebrate the day? Why do we celebrate any day, Bob? Like really? There's a myriad of reasons. It's such a why do we celebrate Valentine's Day?
And even the reason we celebrate this stuff now is different to the reason why it started back in the old days when we talked about everybody bringing their stuff to harvest and there being the big festivals and things like that, having the markets go and whatnot. But the reason they celebrated it with the Catholics celebrated All Saints Day, and then the reason when they brought it over to the New World with the immigrants to the United States, where it kind of found its roots with ideas like the pumpkins and things like that being carved, where all this other folklore was attached to it. It just grew and blossomed, and now what we celebrate is very different from what this was originally. And some of the culture that is brought along with it, things like the movie Halloween with Michael Myers, that's part of the culture now for Americans for Halloween, maybe for everybody to be everywhere.
And I wonder if he has a problem with Easter, because Easter is so obviously a pagan festival. It's so rooted in paganism, like the eggs and the rabbits and Ishtar, the goddess, the fertility goddess kind of thing. It is so rooted in that, and they just want to say, well, no, it's about sort of rebirth, and it's like, well, yeah, but not for the reason you think. It's quite. So I wonder if he's got a problem with that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably have problems with some of the commercial and I guess worldly views of Easter.
Yeah, that's true. Titan, you're amazing. Good to see you.
The rest of you.
Why is it
keep your conical
like
hats and
I don't know.
I don't want your bats.
It's the Devil's Day.
Your tall tales and haunted houses, your apparitions and spooky owls. I and my family declare with Joshua, verse 24:15, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. On how?
So is the claim that you can't serve the Lord and go take your kids trick or treating?
Apparently so.
Because what is dressing as Iron Man and ringing your neighbor's doorbell and him giving you a Snickers bar have to do with the devil?
I apparently everything. I caught that Joshua 24:15. What does that say? I'll do King James version. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Wait, there's other gods out there?
It is acknowledging that there were other gods, and I think that would be because Canaan culture was polytheistic up until close to the 1st century CE. There were still polytheistic sects among the Canaan cultures up until and through the early 3rd century, maybe. When did Rome take over? Because that's when they really. I don't know. I'm not a historian, but just thinking out loud. Let's give this last 20 seconds of this video a go. Okay, let's see if we can wrap this up with Bob.
Halloween and every day.
Your financial support and prayers make it possible for us to bring hope for the hurting and freedom to those in spiritual bondage.
Let's look at his socials here. We got boblarson.org. He has his own website.
Oh, you've got to look at the International School of Exorcism. You have to see this. It is glorious.
Yeah, let's go do that since we're done here, and we still got some. I mean, we're only at that. We aren't even at an hour and a half, which is what I carved out for this. So let's pop out here and look. So what's it called? The school of.
I'll get the link for you and about the school so you can have a look at it. I'll pop that in here. International School of Exorcism.org. .org. You managed to get a .org.
So it's an organization. Private chat. There you are. I had it scooted halfway off the screen. Let's see here. International School of Exorcism.org. About the school. Let's see. And this is In an age of increasing evil, the ancient spiritual practice of exorcism is in demand. The
Is
Catholic
it
Church
though?
believes there should be an exorcist in every diocese. The Church of England, Anglican, wants an exorcist in every parish. Martin Luther, the father of Reformation, included an exorcism ritual in the service book for pastors and made exorcism a part of baptism. Justin Martyr, second century apologist, Tertullian, second century polemicist, Origen, third century theologian, Saint Cyril, a fourth century bishop of Jerusalem, and other church fathers all taught that exorcism was a normal part of church life. Unfortunately, not a single Protestant denomination has a seminary that teaches exorcism. Those who feel called by God to cast out evil spirits have had nowhere to turn for comprehensive instruction until now.
Until now.
Not doctor here, Reverend here. Reverend Bob Larson, the world's foremost Protestant exorcist, has a vision to restore prayer of exorcism to Christianity and has founded the International School of Exorcism, ISE, registered trademark of Reverend Bob Larson. 1/3 of all chapters in the Synoptic Gospels contain instances of exorcisms or exorcism and references to demonic possession. In our world of rampant crime, inhumanity, and child abuse, the need to boldly confront demonic forces is more critical than ever. ISE's mission is to train those called to fulfill Christ's command to heal the brokenhearted and set the captive free. Luke 4:18. The school's curriculum is specifically designed to teach Christian leaders and laypersons the spiritual disciplines of inner healing, deliverance, and exorcism. Various levels of certification are available to those who feel the call to ministry. Instructions and studies include an in-depth training in basic curse breaking. This is stuff you can learn at Hogwarts,
Curse
right?
breaking. Yep.
The weapons
think,
of spiritual warfare.
Professor Snape is taking that one. Yep.
Yeah, and that one's McGonagall. Yeah, the procedures and principles of casting out demons. Applications for enrollment are now being received, but space is limited. And then we got some for information an appeal box here. Let's see how much it costs to enroll in this school. You want to find out?
I do. Can I just? Some of the questions are hilarious, though. Kind of thing.
Yeah, go for it.
It's like, is the School of Exorcism accredited? ISE is accredited by Spiritual Freedom Churches, Inc., international and non-denomination church organization with scores of affiliated and associated churches worldwide. Do you want to take one guess what Bob Larson is the pastor of what his church is called?
Is it the Spiritual Freedom Churches Incorporated?
Yeah.
Is that international?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So he's basically saying, yes, the School of Exorcism is accredited by my church. That's not what accredited means. Like
it's accredited. I accredited it myself.
Yes.
Like, dude.
That's not what we're talking about. When a school is accredited, it means it's okay. It's
basically like we have we created a curriculum and we give it to a board to accredit the curriculum that we're putting out. So he's saying I created a curriculum and I gave it to the board to figure it out, and I was that board.
Yeah. Are scholarships available? That's interesting. At the present time, there are no scholarships available. However, a program will eventually be introduced to assist students on a need basis, though no timetable for such a program has yet been established. So basically, it's coming someday.
Could you imagine signing up for like assistance, like school assistants to go to the school for exorcism?
Mm-hmm.
What's the easiest way to perform an exorcism? You beat the hell out of them.
with a Bible.
He does too. Whips them with that Bible. I should have pulled up one of his clips of him beating someone with a Bible, but he gets pretty savage with it. Will I be tested periodically? Yes. Each lesson has a quiz that must be passed before you can. I would just love to see these quizzes. What does an exorcism quiz look like? Your mother sucks blank and where?
Yeah. What power compels them? You.
That's a tough one.
Is this open book? Is this open book?
Yes. Well, you take doc points for forgetting a little bottle of holy water. What happens when the course is completed? At the end of the course study, you will receive a certificate signed by Dr. Bob Larson. Becoming certified. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was to say, becoming certified will opens the opportunity to attend the yearly ISE convention, where you will meet others involved in deliverance ministry. I knew it. Deliverance ministry, right there. Deliverance ministry is just Protestant or Baptist for exorcists.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of mainstream religious leaders that offer up deliverance ministry because the term is not quite so.
But Bree, it's a convention. Come on, where you can talk about this stuff. Come on.
Oh my gosh, I would want to go as Reagan from The Exorcist. Show up there like that.
Yep. Will my certification transfer to other Christian schools or colleges? That will depend on a case-by-case basis. Attempts will be made to encourage other Christian institutions to recognize the importance of our certification, which basically says they don't recognize the importance of this. So that's a hard no. That's a hard no.
Listen to this one. What are the age requirements? Anyone 18 years or older is eligible. Minors 16 years old or older require legal parental permission and adult supervision. So you can sign off to send your 16-year-old to exorcism school.
What? We don't trust 16-year-olds to have sex and drive. Why would we don't trust them to vote? Why would we trust them to exercise spirits? Come on now.
Because at 16 you're still in high school, right? So you're still going.
Right.
Could you imagine going to school every day? Up to get home from school. It's time to go to exorcism school though. So don't take your shoes off and then go spend the evening learning how to exorcise demons.
How much is this? I got to know now. What's the
I was looking
bill
for a
for
price
this
tag on it, but
for this baloney, yeah.
Under what conditions am I expelled from this school? You're gonna cast
it's got
spells.
a banner up here, ISE and AAD, which is International School of Exorcism and Advanced Academy of Deliverance. Full curriculum, special offer, both for just $1,200.
Wow, that's under the enrollment section here.
Yeah, isn't that really, really low for America?
Well, I mean, it's low for an education, for a certified education. It's
right.
Low price, but it's a certified education in Woo though, so it's
that's true.
It's not going to amount to much. You get both of them for $1,200. You can get the Advanced Academy of Deliverance for $1,000. But you can just do the exorcism and warrior. This is International School of Exorcism curriculum, apprentice warrior, and exorcist level. So you get warrior. There's different levels of it here. I guess you get as you go along. It's like black belts and yellow belts and things like that. So yeah, this is his School of Exorcism. You get the student portal here is where you're gonna launch yourself into. One sec.
Yeah, so it's got launch yourself into combating the spirits. So if you want to be a spirit, look, everyone's always wanted to be a spiritual warrior, right? Right. Everybody. Um, I don't know about everybody else, but I've like heard so many things about like the war on evil kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Well, evil, and that's what we talked about before too, is the place on your moral spectrum that you draw your line and say anything beyond this is just act of evil. That's
Right, right.
fine, but it's again subjective to the individual. So how you can make war on evil when not everybody's going to be able to agree what is evil, because in some countries it's evil for a woman to bare her ankles. So
Right, right. Or gets beaten for not having their hijab on in a correct way, which is
right,
why Iran is currently going crazy right now. But I think Bob Larson, from what I've sort of read quickly of him, he was against sort of heavy metal music and the kind of satanic panic of the
yeah,
80s kind of stuff, right? So
yeah. I mean that's what he's like a holdover from that kind of
right.
mentality. Yeah. All right. Well, that was Bob Larson and his thoughts
What a
on
guy.
Halloween. Uh, Now, tomorrow we'll be exploring some more apologist stuff. I think we have was uh, truth in Jesus. I think is who the lady that we're talking about tomorrow is. Haven't watched it yet. Don't know what she has to say, so that'll be a fun one. Uh, Maya was with us last night. It was a fun time. If you didn't catch that, go back and watch that. We did Ginny Weaver and she's the ex-witch who talks about the movie The Craft and goes on about that. So we did do a response to her like we did tonight with Mark, and tomorrow
I'm
night I'll be
sure
doing it again.
I'm sure Bob Larson loves The Craft. I'm sure he's a huge fan of that movie. I'm sure.
Yeah. I imagine that it's on one of his lists. If
Right.
anything.
Yeah, it's on a list somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's
Yeah,
been fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on, Bree. I
yeah.
so appreciate it. It's been a delight.
No, it's been a great just having you pop in to hang out for a bit, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow doing this with a different apologist with a different take on Halloween. We're doing this countdown to the holiday, so I don't think I'll be streaming on Halloween night. I do have some stuff releasing on Halloween night though, so there's that. Um, and yeah, please remember to be kind and take care, and we'll see you next time.
And do give a like and subscribe if you haven't, and click the bell to keep up on all Bree's content. So she works hard and definitely deserves it.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, you're welcome.